Keys Machine Quilting, and today I'm going to talk about stitching around applique and how I do it. So basically, when I get an applique quilt like this one, let me zoom out a little bit. This one is just full of all kinds of applique. This is the large center block here. And it's got lots of applique. It also has some piecing in it, half square triangles. But I really enjoy doing applique quilts when I'm quilting them. So when I do quilt them, I always stitch on the applique. And the reason why I do that is because I want to set the applique down. I don't like to see it just kind of floating up in the air. I like it to sit down. And then once I put a background fill behind this, it's going to make the applique pop, and it's going to make it a lot of times look like trapunto. So, and if you don't know what trapunto is, that's when you put an extra piece of batting underneath the applique, which makes it kind of poofy and pop out. Although this does not, it only has one layer of batting on this quilt, and I can show you that. So let me just move over here, but here it is. It's just one layer of batting, the backing, and then of course the piece top. So let's get over here and let's get started on getting some stitching done. So I want to find a place to start, and I try to make my applique as continuous as possible. So so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch around this right here. And this is a vine, and it's got all these circles, these applique circles around it. Look how cute that is. That's a fussy cut. There's a couple of them. Here's one here that's fussy cut. Let me see if I can get this lighting a little bit better. All right, and there's quite a few things in this that's been fussy cut that makes it very, very unique and special. So here's a looks like a bumblebee in this circle here. All right, so when I stitch this, I can stitch applique in regulated or manual. It really depends the mood I'm in and how things are working for me that day. So I'm going to zoom in again here. Wow, the lighting isn't very good. So hold on just 1 second. Let me see if this makes it any better. Maybe a little better. All right, sorry about this. Okay, all right, well, let's just get started here. So I've brought my bobbin thread up, and I'm going to lock in my stitches. All right, they're locked in, and I am in regulated. I'm at 13 stitches per square inch right now, and now I'm going to begin to follow, and I'm trying to get up as close as I can to that applique without stitching on top of it. For me, sometimes going around curves is a little bit easier than maybe a straight line. So yes, you can use a ruler to help guide you around. And if you notice, I am not stitching on top of the vine because I want the applique to look like it's on a vine. I don't want to set it down on the vine. Sometimes it makes the vine look kind of gathered once I do that. But if I feel like later, if I need to do that, then I will stitch it. All right, I'm just moving right along, coming down to the next one. Okay, this one I skipped because it's spaced away from the stem. And I can catch that later whenever I start quilting in the background. So I do set this down as I'm going, and as you can see, there is quite a bit of piecing in this. Here's a block over here that's been pieced and applique over it, but this background, to me, is one. It should be one when it's quilted. So the reason why I stitch in the applique is help set the block down, or the area of the quilt, set it down and stabilize it. And once I get to the end of this quilt, then I will stitch off the top, and then I will start putting in my designs. But as I'm stitching the applique, this kind of gives me an idea of what I want to do to this quilt in the background. So, and it does have the half square triangles in it as well. So there's a lot that I can do in this. And, you know, I might put some little cross hatching somewhere, feathers, lots of background fill. So, but I can use some of the stems. Oh, look at this little circle right here. It has a little bird in it. How cute. So I try not to stitch up on top of the applique, just around it, as close as I can get. Okay, this one I'm going to take around this way. And I do take my time. I don't get in a hurry. For me, this is just a, okay, I can slip down here. That's just right up against that circle. It's just right up against that stem. Okay, and then we'll just go back. We'll stitch all the rest of it, but I do want to talk about some more. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut my thread here, and I'm going to use a tail so I know right where I stopped. So right where I need to start. So I'm just going to leave a little tail here, just like that. There's my tail right there. All right. So as I come over here to this right here, you see how we have some half square triangles right here, and I always stitch in the ditch. I've stitched in the ditch on these right here, and as I roll, I'll continue to stitch in the ditch. But I have actually divided this as a border, and I've divided this one as a border, and this is divided as a border, and then of course we have our final border here after our inner border. I haven't decided what I want to do on the border yet. The customer wants me to put some kind of feather on there, and I'll figure it out. I'll get it. But I want to show you on these vines here. When I have a negative space on the vine, coming off the vine, and no leaves in the way, that is a perfect opportunity to probably throw in some feathers in there and make them look really pretty. Now, this is kind of a whimsical quilt, so I won't go real elegant on this. I might have a little bit of elegant feathers here and there, just kind of thrown in the background, just to give it a little interest. I see I'll probably put pebbles in areas and just different background fills. So again, I'm working my way down just by stabilizing the quilt, and then I'll do all the pretty stuff, filling in all the background. So that is that's why I stitch around applique, and I also will stitch on top of applique. So if you look at these petals right here, these petals here are kind of wide. I've already stitched around this, but they're kind of wide. And if I'm going to stitch in the background, put a background fill, you know, it's gonna maybe make these kind of poof out, but also kind of look a little, look like it has a little fullness in it. So I may go in these and just kind of outline stitch. I'm kind of thinking about doing that in each petal and maybe in this part right here, so that it doesn't look kind of awkward. The larger the pieces of applique, you definitely want to try to stitch inside them. This leaf here, I might just put a little vein in these right here. And we have other leaves here that I could put veins in as well. So once I start the background fill and I'm stitching in a certain area near a leaf, I may just go up in that leaf and come out and then continue with my background fill. So I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope you got some ideas on how to stitch around applique. Don't be afraid to use either regulated or manual. I do slow my speed down to very, very slow in manual. So have fun with this, and thank you for watching. I would appreciate it if you like and subscribe and share with a friend. And I do have a website, jackiesmachinequilting.com. Thank you so much.